Hi everyone. Only 17 members, 16 members are there. Have to wait for a few minutes to start the session. We will start the session sharply by 9:10. Okay. My dear students, total participants are only 33 participants are there. Okay. Now the time is 9:10. The time to start the session. Okay. In the yesterday class, we discussed about spirit level. Okay. I'm giving small brief about spirit level. We already discussed that spirit levels are used for measuring smaller angles. Okay, with more accuracy. Okay, in this case, it consists of a glass tube and it is bore ground to a large radius and it is consisting of a graded scale on its surface and the tube is filled with either like low viscous fluids. Okay, if you fill the uh, tube by leaving small gap, automatically one bubble is formed in this. The bubble always try to lie at the highest position, okay, in the tube. if the tube is placed on a horizontal surface, okay, if the surface is purely horizontal, in that case, the bubble will lie at the center in between these two divisions. If the bubble lies here, you can conclude that, okay, the surface on which the spirit level placed is a purely horizontal surface. Okay, no variations on the surface. It is purely smooth surface. If the bubble moves towards left or right by placing on a horizontal surface, automatically there is some variation in the surface. Okay, that means the variations in the surface can be measured by using the spirit level. So that is the reason why it is used for measuring the straightness, flatness, or in our machine shop, if you want to check the bed straightness, in that case also you go for using this spirit level also. In some cases you go for dial indicators to check the flatness and straightness. In some cases you can also use these spirit levels. Okay, suppose if you want to tilt the machine to some angles, smaller angles, if you want to, okay, raise one end of the machine to a smaller angle, in that case you can use this spirit levels in order to set that particular angle, right? Okay, static leveling. That is the reason why spirit level is generally used for the static leveling of the machinery and other equipment. Calibrated spirit level is an angular measuring device of great precision. Okay, it gives up to seconds measurement. The liquid almost fills the tube. The fuel bin liquid will always at the highest position. We already discussed it. The bubble will always try to lie at the highest position. Whatever may be the position of the spirit level, the bubble will always try to lie at the highest position. Highest position. Suppose if you tilt one end, or if you, okay, rotate one end at some angle by keeping other end on the surface plate, automatically the bubble will move towards the, okay, end which is raised from the surface plate, right? If the tube is tilted to a small angle, the bubble will move along the radius of the tube to a certain distance depending on the angle of the tilt. Okay, always the bubble will try to, okay, move towards the tilted edge. Okay, completely these spirit levels are used to be controlled room temperature because of their sensitivity may vary with the temperature of surroundings. Okay, know very well what is the sensitivity. Whatever the smallest angle required, smallest tilt required in order to change the bubble, in order to change the bubble position, that is the sensitivity. Okay, the angle in seconds required to move the bubble through one distance, through one division, that is the sensitivity. Okay, right? Here, in this case, one formula is there, that is sin theta equal by two formulas. In the next slide, we will see the geometry. In this geometry, if you observe, this B is the initial position of the bubble when the spirit level is placed on the horizontal surface. And this A is the initial end position of the spirit level. Okay, if you assume the spirit level length occupies from 0 to A, in this position, the bubble, okay, in the spirit level is at B position. Suppose if you tilt one end A of the spirit level, okay, through small angle alpha, okay, small angle alpha, that means it is raised to H height. That means the A point, end point of the spirit level is raised to A dash, occupies A dash point. If it is one end is tilted through alpha angle, the bubble position also occupies a new position B dash by, okay, deflecting through an angle alpha. That means the length, okay, length of deflection is, it is L, right? This R represents the radius of curvature of the tube, spirit level tube, right? If you take the geometry of this one, the horizontal right angle triangle geometry, if you take the sine alpha, that is H by L. Why it is L means this is the length of the spirit level. When it is tilted, even though it is tilted, the length will not vary. It is constant. Therefore, you can take the opposite side by hypotenuse O A dash as a L, H by L. Sine alpha equal to H by L. Here the angle of tilt is very small. Then you can conclude that sine alpha is equal to alpha, that alpha equal to H by L. That is one relation. Sine alpha equal to H by L. That means alpha equal to H by L for smaller angles. If you know the H value, you can find the angle of tilt. If you know the H value, you can find alpha. Why? Because L is a constant. Length of the spirit level is constant. Okay, you can use this geometry, bubble movement geometry. You can use this one. If you take this as the arc length, L is the length of the, okay, bubble movement. You can consider this as the arc length. Arc length is given by L equal to R theta, radius of the tube multiplied with the angle R alpha. L equal to R alpha. Here small L represents the distance moved by the bubble. Here capital L represents the length of the spirit level. Okay, observe the change. Okay, difference. Okay, yes. If you take this as the length of the arc, that means the bubble movement length is equal to R alpha. Okay, from that, here by giving a small tilt at one end to the spirit level, the bubble will move. The bubble will move. Okay, you can find the L value. Okay, L value on the tube. Okay, the previous slide, if you observe, okay, on the slide, the bubble will move towards right or left depending on the rotation. Okay, the bubble movement is measured by using this scale. By using scale, right? Okay. So if you observe here in the figure, B is the position of the bubble at the top of the tube radius and the base is horizontal. If the base is tilted through an angle alpha and the base occupies the position OA dash, the bubble will move a distance L to B dash. Angle BOB dash equal to alpha. If R is the radius of the tube, then you can take length of the bubble movement L equal to R alpha. From that you can find alpha equal to arc length by R. Horizontal geometry. From this horizontal geometry, you can take sine alpha equal to h by L. From the alpha is small, sine alpha equal to alpha, that is alpha equal to h by L. Here one more alpha is there, here alpha is there. By equating these two, you will get the relation arc length equal to RH by L. In the practical applications, if you want to find, okay, the angle of the given surface, okay, whether it is purely horizontal or not, in that case, you have to place the spirit level on the work part to be tested. Okay, you have to observe the bubble position. If it is at the middle, then you can conclude that the horizontal given surface is purely flat. Okay, otherwise there is some variation on the surface. You have to identify the angle. Okay, how to find the angle? By you have to measure the bubble movement, bubble distance, moving distance. Okay, by using the distance, here arc length L, bubble moving distance, you can take this as arc length L, and the radius of the curvature of the tube is already known. You can find the alpha. You can find the alpha. Simply, you are going to measure the distance traveled by the bubble as arc length. Distance traveled by the bubble as arc length. By substituting arc length here, you can find the variation on the surface. Okay. If alpha is there, automatically the given surface is not flat. There is some variation. So this spirit level is used for measuring the angles or setting of angles, right? That. Okay, checking the flatness, straightness. Okay, different applications. Clinometers. The clinometers are a simple application. Okay, variety of application of spirit levels. Okay, in these clinometers, the spirit level is placed in a housing at some inclination. Okay, if you observe here, different types of clinometers are there. Vernier kilometer, micrometer kilometer. Vernier kilometer means it is based on Vernier principle. Micrometer based on micrometer principle. Okay, dial clinometer, they are having a dial to indicate the, okay, variation or the angle. The optical clinometers also there, right? Here this is the clinometer. Okay, diagram, you observe clearly the clinometer. Clinometer is a special case of application of spirit level. Okay, spirit level is here, the spirit level. It is simply, okay, placed in a housing. Okay, this housing having is the base, flat base and flat vertical surface. In this housing, you are going to place the spirit level, and the spirit level is able to rotate, okay, about this hinge point. Okay, this can rotate. Okay, it is when it is rotating about the, okay, a circular calibrated scale, you can measure the position. You can measure the position variations. Okay, right. And this is spirit level mounted on a rotary member. Here the rotary member, on this rotary member, the spirit level is mounted here on this rotary member. This is the bar, it is rotating bar. On this rotating bar, simply spirit level is mounted here. Okay, when the bar is, when the rotating member is rotating automatically. The spirit level also rotate along with the rotating member. Okay, when it is rotated automatically, okay, the bubble position will vary. Always in this case, we are always trying to, okay, set the spirit level at zero condition, at zero condition. Okay, a circular cell is provided on the housing. These are the components. A circular scale is used to measure the angle of inclination of the rotary member relative to the base. Relative to the base. Here, the base is to be placed on the work part to be tested. Suppose if you want to measure, okay, the angle of this incline, angle of this incline. In this case, the clinometer is placed on the inclined surface, and this rotating member is simply rotated. You have to rotate the member till the zero obtained in the spirit level. Okay, you have to rotate the member until the zero position, okay, obtained in the spirit level. Okay, when you get the zero position or zero reading in the spirit level, then automatically, okay, you can measure the angle here. You can measure the angle here on this scale. Okay, that is the angle of inclination. Okay, simply observe here, the base of the instrument is placed on the surface and rotary member is adjusted till zero reading of the bubble is obtained. Zero reading of the bubble is obtained. Okay. If you place the clinometer on the what part to be tested, okay, in that case, okay, the spirit level, okay, bubble position will show some reading, but you have to nullify the bubble position. That means always you have to try to brought the bubble position to zero. Okay, when you brought the bubble position to oh, zero, in that position, you have to measure the angle against the circular scale. Okay, when the zero position of the bubble is obtained in the spirit level, you have to measure the angle on the circular scale. That angle becomes the angle of the incline. Angle of the incline. If you observe here, this is the angle of incline. Here the flat surface. Here the position of the bubble. The position of the bubble. Okay, from this position to this horizontal surface. That is theta. Okay. If you observe clearly, in this case, this is a rotating member. On the rotating member, here the spirit level is mounted. Okay, this rotating member can rotate about this against the circular scale. Here the two faces, two flat faces are there. This base is simply placed on the work part. Okay, and if you place the this base on the work part, automatically the bubble will occupy a new position beyond the zero. But always you have to try to bring that bubble position to zero. When you brought that bubble position to zero, then you have to take the reading, okay, against the scale, right? That's the case. These are the different clinometers. Here, clinometers types, micrometer clinometer. This is the micrometer clinometer. In this case, micrometer principle is used. If you observe here, it looks like a micrometer. Okay, it is a ratchet, and this is the barrel, and this is a thimble. Okay, each and everything is same as that of a micrometer. But here, in this case, the spirit level is simply mounted on the rotating member, and the rotating member one end is attached to the spirit level. Sorry, one end spirit level rotating member one end is attached to the, okay, micrometer, one end of the micrometer, and the other end of the rotating member is simply hinged here. Okay, so it can rotate okay, along with the movement of the micrometer, by operating the ratchet or by operating the thimble here. Okay, the barrel or the spindle can move, okay, up and down. Okay, yeah, along with the movement of the micrometer, the rotating member also rotates. Okay, so in this case, the clinometer is to be placed, this flat base of the clinometer is to be placed on the work part to be tested. Okay, by placing this flat surface on the work part to be tested, automatically there is a variation in the bubble position. Always you have to, okay, keep the bubble position to zero. Okay, in order to keep the bubble position to zero, simply you have to operate the micrometer using the thimble. Thimble can be rotated. By rotating the thimble, the barrel will move. Okay, by moving the barrel, the rotating member also will move in order to bring back the bubble position to zero. Bubble position to zero. After getting bubble position to zero, then you have to take the reading in the micrometer. Okay, right. other end of the, if you observe here, one end of the spirit level is attached to end of the barrel of micrometer. The other end of the spirit level is hinged on the base, right? The base is placed on the surface whose inclination is to be measured. The micrometer is adjusted till the level is horizontal. Always you have to adjust the micrometer. By adjusting the micrometer, you can bring this bubble position to 0, right? This most commonly used clinometer is of the regular and waltz type, in which circular scale is totally enclosed and is divided from 0 to 360 degrees interval. Okay. What are the uses of these clinometers? These are used for angular faces, measuring checking angular faces, gauges, relief angles on large cutting tools, angle of milling cutter inserts, jigs and fixtures, levels of machine base and bed plates, and for setting of inclinable tables on jig boring machines, and adjustable angle plates, angular work on grinding and lapping machines. For different applications, you can use the clinometers, right? Observe here, this is a micrometer clinometer. Here in this case, like this. Okay. These are the dial type of clinometers are also there. Okay, the dial type clinometers simply shows the reading directly without any measurement with the micrometer or vernier. Okay, directly the reading is simply okay shown by the pointer on the dial. Okay, this is all about clinometers. Okay, next we go for autocollimeter. Yes. Okay. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is autocollimeter and angle decker. Both are there in this okay PPT. Right. What is autocollimeter? What is meant by collimation? Collimation. Collimation means simply converting the diverged beam of light into parallel beam of light. For that, you require a collimating lens. Collimating lens are used to convert diverged beam of light into parallel beam of light. Okay, that parallel beam of light means simply you are converging or specifying the path of the light rays. Okay, diverging means it occupies more area, but you are converting them into parallel beam of light. Okay, that parallel beam of light is used in this case. Very important principle in this case is simply converting the diverging beam of light into parallel beam of light. Both the autocollimeter and angular decker are similar to each other with a small variation. Generally, these autocollimeters are used for measuring the angular differences and small angles. Okay, always you are going to compare okay the given surface with the standard one, and you are getting the difference in angles. Okay, these are used for checking the flatness or small angular measurements. Okay, different purposes: flatness, straightness, squareness. Okay, and small angle, all for all purposes. These are autocollimeters are very important. Multi-purpose instrument is the autocollimeter and angular decker, angle decker, right? What is the what is meant by autocollimeter? So if you observe here, autocollimeter is an optical instrument. It is an optical instrument used for the measurement of small angular differences, right? In order to measure the small angular difference, very minute differences can be measured by using this autocollimeter. Okay, for small angular measurements, it provides very sensitive and accurate approach. Very sensitive and accurate approach is given. Very small measurements can also be read by using these autocollimeters. It is a combination of two, that is infinitely telescope and a collimeter. Both are combined in instrument. Combination of a telescope and a collimeter inside an instrument. This is called autocollimeter. Right. Next. Collimation. What is meant by collimation? Already discussed. Collimation nothing but converting the diverged beam of light into parallel beam of light. If you observe here in this case, this is the diverged beam of light. This beam is coming from a source of light. Okay, this diverged beam of light, when it is passed through the collimating lens, if it is passed through the collimating lens, simply it is simply made as a parallel beam of light, made as parallel beam of light. That is nothing but collimation. Collimation, nothing but converting the diverging beam of light into parallel beam of light for specific purpose. You can see later in the later slides. Right. What are the different types of autocollimators? Different types are available based on their available features like that. Photoelectric micro-optic autocollimator. In this case, micrometer reading is to be noted on. In this case, if you over here, in this case, micrometer adjustment is provided for setting, but coincidence of setting reticule and target image is detected photoelectrically, just like a image, and source null reading. Okay, this is completely based on micrometer adjustment. First one. The second one is having a digital readout. It is having digital readout. No need to set the micrometer. No need to set the micrometer. Directly, whatever the reading obtained, that is displayed on the digital readout. Okay, angular displacement of the reflector is displayed on a digital readout. We can see later what is done by reflector, how to get the angular displacement, how it is read. We will discuss in the coming slides. Okay, first listen what are the different types. Angular displacement of the reflector is displayed on a digital readout, eliminating any micrometer reading for measuring. It is used for cramped position. Cramped means the narrow space. When the space availability is low, that means in that case, you are going to use this automatic position sensing autocollimator. Okay, micro optic autocollimator is very important. We will discuss this one. Okay, we will concentrate on this micro optic autocollimator. In this, a pair of target wise take place of the point light source, as it is not convenient to visualize the reflected image of point and then to measure the distance precisely. In this case, two wires are taken. Okay, cross wires are taken, target wires are taken. Okay, in the place of point. Why? Because in this projection, we cannot visualize the position of the point directly. So, in order to improve the visualization, we are going to use this target wise in place of point. Okay, right? This is very important. Principle of autocollimator. You observe here two main principles used in autocollimator. What are those two main principles? If you observe here one collimating lens is there. One collimating lens is there. Okay. Just wait, I will take the point. Okay. Right. Two main principles used. What are the main principle? Here the collimator objective. Collimator objective is the again, this is collimating lens. Here, after projecting the beam of light rays towards the collimating lens, that beam of light is simply converted into parallel beam of light. Parallel beam of light. If you observe these red lines, these two red lines are simply parallel to each other after passing through the collimating lens. Okay, that is the first principle. The projection and the refraction of a parallel beam of light by a lens. The projection and the refraction. Refraction means changing the direction of light. Here in this case, the light rays are moving in this direction, and finally those are simply changed in this direction parallel to each other. Okay, that is the first principle. By passing or projecting the beam of light rays through the collimator, collimator, autocollimator, we are changing its direction and making them as parallel beam of light. That is the first principle. The projection and the refraction of a parallel beam of light by a lens. And the second one is, okay, here the reflective surface is there. Reflective surface means you can assume it as a slip gaze, flat surface of the slip gaze. Okay. If this reflective surface is there, in this case, if this reflective surface is perpendicular to the axis of the lens, in that case, the rays which are the parallel beam of rays which are simply incident on this red line reflective, always try to concentrate on this. Please try to concentrate on this red line. This indicates the reflective surface in the initial position. After tilting, you will observe the blue line. Okay, initially, if the reflective surface or any surface, that flat surface, is perpendicular to the axis of lens. In that case, the beam, whatever the beam, parallel beam of light, which are incident on this reflective surface, gets reflected back in the same position, in the same path. Okay, this reflected beam of light simply come back and passes through the lens and simply reaches the, okay, here reaches the microscope. Okay, CCD is there. Okay, charge. CCD means electronic device, okay, that is used to convert the beam of light into digital output. Digital output, okay. Charged coil, digital output, okay. This one, right. Only thing, observe here, the parallel beam of light is reflected back in the same path when this reflective surface is perpendicular to the axis of the objective lens, right. And one more thing, if you observe here, if the reflective surface is tilted through small angle alpha, then automatically the direction of beam of light is changed through angle 2 alpha. Listen carefully. If the reflective surface is rotated or tilted through a small angle alpha, in that case, whatever the parallel beam of light rays incident on the reflective surface gets reflected back through an angle 2 alpha, through an angle 2 alpha. If the reflector surface is reflected through angle alpha, the beam gets reflected through an angle 2 alpha. Okay, after reflection through an angle 2 alpha, this beam of light, blue rays are simply incident and they are focused, they are allowed to reach the, okay, focal, that means visible area of the microscope, visible area of the microscope, right? Here, the second one, the change in direction of reflected angle on a plane reflecting surface with the change in angle of incidence. Because of change of angle of incidence, the reflected beam of light rays simply changes to alpha angle or to theta angle. Okay. If you observe here, this is the initial position. O represents the initial position. O dash is the second position. In the initial position, when the mirror reflecting surface is perpendicular to the, okay, axis of this one, automatically in this case reflected beam of light rays come back in the same path and occupies the O point. Okay, occupies the O point. And if the reflector is reflected through an angle, reflector is changed to through an angle of theta, then this beam of light okay, rotated through 2 theta angle and occupies a position here. Okay, you can measure the displacement of this position, image position. Okay, this displacement position, image position can take it as x. You can find the x value by taking a right angle triangle. Okay, that is given by 2f theta. Okay, by knowing the x value, focal length is already given. Focal length is known from here to here. That is the focal length. Okay, f is known and x is known. If x is known, you can find the theta angle difference. Theta can be determined. Okay, right. Here different components are there. This is the source of light. This is the slit having a narrow passage. Through the narrow passage, the light ray simply reaches this okay, beam splitter. Okay, beam splitter simply changes the direction and diverts towards the collimating lens. This collimating lens, from this collimating lens, parallel beam of light rays simply incident on the reflective surface. If the reflective surface is perpendicular to the axis of the lens, in that case, the beam of light come back in the same path and occupies this position here. And if the reflective surface is tilted through an angle alpha, then this reflected beam of light rotates through an angle 2 alpha and occupies a new position. Okay, here it converges here. You can measure the displacement of this image by knowing x value. You can find the theta angle by knowing f. Okay, right. This is the principle in the, okay, autocollimator. Focal length. This is the length between this image position and this okay, this lens, the distance. Right. You can see this complete in this video. Simply try to observe this video.
Autocollimator. An autocollimator is an optical instrument. It is a non-contact type instrument, which is used for measuring angles. They are used to align components and measure deflection in optical or mechanical systems. There are basically two types of autocollimators: visual autocollimator and digital autocollimator. This video covers visual autocollimator. A visual autocollimator can measure angles as small as 1 arcsecond, that is 4.85 microradians, while an electronic autocollimator can have up to 100 times more resolution. This video will cover the followings about the visual autocollimator. 1. Working principle. 2. Construction. 3. Working. 4. Uses. Working principle. A light ray passing from a collimating lens strikes on a plane reflector and gets reflected back in the same path. This happens only if the plane reflector is perpendicular to the incident rays. In this case, the reflected rays fall at the same point from where they were projected, that is at point O. If suppose the reflector or the surface is at an angle theta, in this case the incident rays are reflected at angle 2 theta, and the reflected rays.
My dear students, listen to me. Here, this reflective surface nothing but our work part, which is to be tested. Okay, the work part which is under test is simply placed here. Okay, in place of reflector. In place of reflector, the variation on the surface of the work part is simply measured with the help of change of position of image, right? Initially you are going to use the slip gauge, okay, complete flat surface, and you have to observe the initial position of image. After removing this slip gauge with the work part, again you are going to take image. The image will occupy as a position here or here. You can measure the distance between the two images, and that can be used to find the theta angle. Okay.
Falls at point O dash. By knowing this distance between O and O dash, which can be denoted by x, we can find out the angle theta by using this relationship, which says x is equal to 2 theta into f. Here, f is the focal length of the objective lens. This is the working principle behind autocollimator. Let us see the construction of autocollimator. It consists of following parts: light source, filter, condenser lens, diffuser, objective radical, beam splitter, objective lens, eyepiece. Working of autocollimator. The light rays from the light source passes through the filter. This filter selectively transmit light in a particular range of wavelength. That means only particular colors with a particular range will be allowed to pass through the filter, while it absorbs the remaining colors. After passing through the filter, the light beam passes through the condenser lens. Condenser lens helps in rendering a divergent beam from a point source into a parallel beam. This helps in rendering a sharper image. Then the light beam passes from diffuser, which will scatter light in some manner to transmit soft light. After passing through the diffuser, the beam of light will pass through objective radical. Then it falls onto the beam splitter. Here, the beam of light splits into two, and it gets projected on both the sides. The beam of light traveling on the left-hand side will pass through the eyepiece radical and eyepiece lens. On the other hand, the beam of light traveling in the right side will pass through the objective lens and falls on the plane reflector. If the plane reflector, which is workpiece surface, if it is perpendicular to the beam of light, it will reflect the beam of light in the same path. Hence, both the beams will fall at the same point. Let us consider this point be O. Suppose, if the workpiece surface is at angle theta, then the beam of light will be reflected back at an angle 2 theta. Therefore, the reflected beam of light will fall at a different point. Let us consider this point to be O dash. By knowing the distance between O and O dash, which we have denoted by x, and by knowing the focal length of the lens, we can use this relationship to find out the angle theta. This is the working of autocollimator. Uses or application of auto.
Okay. Right. This complete principle of the autocollimator. You have to know the video clearly, the animation clearly observed the working of autocollimator. If you observe here, light source, splitter, and crosswise are placed here, and the objective lens is collimating lens. Okay, plane reflector is taken here. That everything, each and everything is same as seen in the video, right? How to take the measurement in this case? Okay. This is all about construction and working of this autocollimator, all about. Observe here, the reflector is tilted to a small angle. The reflected light beam will be brought to focus on the plane of eyepiece reticle, but linearly displaced by an amount of 2 tan theta into f, 2 theta f, right? Okay. Here, two types of autocollimators are there. Okay, that is view field of the autocollimator diagram 6b and view field diagram of 6d. 6b and 6d diagrams are there. Here in this case, it is bright and these lines, okay, these cross lines are target lines or simply black in color. But here in this case, it is dark in, okay, the dial is dark and the lines crosswise are, okay, bright. Okay. For smaller, if you observe here, the object is small and there is a little reflected light. Because only a small reflector can be installed, it will be difficult to read the scale on a bright field instrument, since the entire view field will be dark. As a result, it is used to use a dark field instrument in such instances. Okay, if you go for checking the smaller size instruments, you have to go for dark field. Okay, here the crosswise are bright, right? We have to measure the distance. Okay, here crosswise. One base reference lines are there, exist in the microscope view, and these crosswise are the projection. You observe here, the target wise image is directly projected into the microscope view. Observe here, two cross lines are there. One cross line is a standard scale present in the microscope view, and these cross lines are simply obtained as the image of target wise. Target wise, nothing but cross wise, which are placed in the field of beam. Okay, the beam which is projected from the reflector, okay, take away the target wise image along with them, and the beam of light is reflected back and occupies the microscope view position. Okay, in that case, it looks like this crosswise. This black wise or the green wise are the simply image of the crosswise which are present in the path of beam. Okay, depending on the position of this beam, you can measure the distance, the variation. Okay, that distance, x distance, can be used to find the theta value. Right. Autocollimator. This is all available in our metrology lab also. Okay. Here the work part to be tested is placed here. Okay, long microscope telescope is there, and a collimating lens is there here. Okay, we're going to view this object from this side. Right. Applications. Checking of an internal right angle. Comparative measurement using master angles. Master angles means if you use the angle gauges as the initial surface, those surfaces are smooth, flat surfaces. Okay. After that, you have to place the work part in place of slip gauges. Okay, angular slip gauges, and then you can measure the variation. Likewise, you are going to compare the work parts. Comparative measurement using master angle is possible by using autocollimator. Measuring straightness and flatness of the surfaces. You can measure the straightness and flatness of the surfaces. How to measure the straightness and how to measure the flatness? Already told you. Okay, in order to measure the straightness or the flatness, first you have to use the slip gauge. Okay, finished end as the reflective surface. Once the well finished surface is placed in the path of beam, Those beam reflects in the same path and occupies the position O. Right. After that, simply remove the slip gauge, okay, and place the work part which is to be tested. That is the work part means here the flatness of a bed surface you can place. Okay, if it is the light is focused onto the surface which is to be tested, again the image is projected somewhere, and there is a gap between the O and O dash. You can measure that and you can use to find the straightness or flatness. Assessment of squareness and parallelism of component for machine tool adjustment setting. Okay, all these are can be fulfilled by using this autocollimeter. Right. Okay, these are the applications of autocollimeters. Okay, in machine shop. Okay, straightness. You can check the straightness. Okay, if you observe here the diagram, this autocollimeter is used to find the straightness and flatness. You can check the flatness of the bed. You can check the flatness of the bed and surface stable flatness measurement. Surface stable. If you take the surface stable is the purely horizontal surface, smooth surface. It is used as a reference. Okay, that also can be checked by using. Okay, by using this autocollimeter. Surface stable flatness measurement can also be done by using autocollimeters. Okay, here in one direction you are going to take, and in other direction you are going to take. Right. Parallel alignment. Okay, here number of okay parts are there. Those are aligned parallelly. How to take can measure the parallel alignment. Parallel alignment. If there exists any deflection in this alignment, automatically there is a difference in the image position. Difference in the image position. Okay. If any one is deflected through angle alpha, automatically 2 alpha angle can be deflected. The right rays will be deflected to 2 alpha angle, and the image also occupies a new position. Occupies the new position. Here, the squareness can also be checked by using this autocollimeter. These are all applications of autocollimeter. Rotary indexing. Rotary indexing means on the circular part, if you want to make gradations or any markings, Suppose tool checks are there. Checks are there in our lathe machine, and rotary tool holders are also there. If you observe in our okay skill development center, okay, there is a CNC machine. There's a CNC machines. CNC machines are having adapters. Okay, our tool magazines. Tool magazines are simply holding the tools radially on its periphery. Suppose if you want to divide the circumference of the work part into number of divisions, equal divisions. In this case also, okay, these autocollimeters are used to mark equally. Okay, rotary indexing is also possible by using this okay autocollimeter. Right. This is another case of okay autocollimeter. This is angle decker. It complete working of angle decker is similar to the autocollimeter. But in this case, two scales are used. One is the illuminated scale, and the other is a datum scale. Okay. Okay. Now the time is 9:55. Another class is there in 5 minutes. Seat transfer. Okay, I'm closing the session. Anyone, you can unmute yourself. I think you can unmute yourself. If you anyone having doubt, you can ask me so that I can answer your questions. My dear students, anyone please respond? Anyone please respond? Totally 63 participants are there. 63 participants. Okay. Anyone please respond? Do you have any doubts? Anyone? Very important question in the exam point of view is autocollimeter and angle decker. We will discuss the angle decker in the coming classes. Autocollimeter is very important. Why? Because it is having multi applications. So it is very important. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Anyone? You have any doubts? Prakash, 323 Prakash, Sunara Ali, Prakash. 19. Upendra, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Is there? Have you any doubt? Hima, do you have any doubt? Upendra. Okay. I'm closing the session.